Welcome back to Andertons TV, ladies and gentlemen. We are joined today, or Danish Pete and I are joined today by a new range of amplifiers from our friends at Victory. I say new. 6-7 years ago, the original Victory Sheriff range.
Is it that long now?
Yes, it's that long ago. Sheriff, if you look up other words that are similar to sheriff in a thesaurus, you may see another word that might give you a clue as to what inspired these amplifiers.
And, yes. I didn't shoot it.
Now the Sheriff range, the original Sheriff range from Victory was based on Martin Kidd's kind of version of the original 50-watt Marshall Super Lead, so the 1987.
Nice.
So it was a kind of probably a 70s inspired Marshall-y kind of vibe. Very simplistic in terms of, although it sort of had channel switching, it was really this idea of input 1 and input 2 that you would get on that old Super Lead. The effects loop was in a slightly unusual position. Again, trying to sort of capture the vintageness of that amplifier.
Yeah.
So the new range of Sheriff, which is now a Sheriff 25 head, with a matching Sheriff 25 combo, and then a Sheriff 100 available either in a narrow head that fits on top of the 212 or a wide head which fits on top of the 412. This and this amplifier are identical. It's just the size of the wooden sleeve that's different. So it's really just two basic amps in the range.
More familiar this look.
These are taking their inspiration from more of a JCM 800 era amplifier.
Okay.
So slightly higher gain, but also with now probably a more familiar feeling channel switching option. And also a much more familiar effects loop. So the effects loop is back in the position that you would traditionally find effects loop.
Where would that be? That's just after the master?
No, it's before the master, and I forget now. I think before the phase splitter as well. But it's the problem with the previous Sheriff was very much that the effects loop didn't like you changing channels.
I remember.
So you'd set the level right for one channel, and then if you changed the channel, it would get upset. Not upset, but you'd find the level into your effects would change quite radically. With Martin has eliminated that issue now. I'm going to hand the reins, I think, over now to my colleague Danish Pete to take us through the basic settings. So,
I'm Dutch. You know that.
Yeah, this is true. Pete is Dutch.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is I've got this radial headbone switcher on the top that simply allows me to switch between this head and this head, but through the same cabinet. So we're going to jump over to this one. I will, if you're all right, Mr. Pete, just put this Strymon Big Sky through the effects loop of here. So
you can't help yourself with the reverb.
I can't.
No.
I can't do it. Because if you haven't already worked this out, none of these amplifiers have reverb in them as standard, as in they just have an effects loop. Okay, give us a chord, Mr. Pete, so that we know we've got some sound, and then I'll delve into some specs and stuff.
Right, before I do that, Lee, please like and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, you can win something every 50,000 subscribers. We're getting to 50,000, another 50,000.
We're nearly there.
Yeah.
Actually, I think at the moment we're also giving away Victory Sheriff things, which is a coincidence. But anyway, details below.
Okay, so we are now, into this or into that? I've got some pedals on the floor as well, in case we need them.
Right, so give us a chord, Mr. Pete. Oh, that's good. Is 25 watts of classic British rock tone on its cleaner channel.
Yeah.
Basic specs of this head are 25 watts, as I said. There's no more low power mode on this. There was on the previous model. They've ditched the low power mode. You just have to turn it down there if you want it to be quieter.
Master volumes.
The output valves are two EL86s. If you are unfamiliar with those, they are a very similar valve to an EL34. So much so that, I think Martin preferred them. But the valve base is the same as an EL84 valve. So if you want to change and experiment on this amplifier between 86s and 85s, 86s and 84s, you absolutely can. Just might need to tweak the bias a little bit. But EL86 in here, 3 conventional ECC 83 preamp tubes.
Too bad I need.
25 watts, as I said.
Yeah.
2 channels, vintage and hot rod, each with their own independent gain.
Yeah.
Shared treble, middle and bass. 2 separate master controls. There's a very handy little switch on the back that allows you to either assign master 1 with the vintage channel and master 2 with the hot rod channel, which is what we've got, or separate them so that, again, using the foot switch that you get with it, you can independently choose which master volume is working with which channel. So kind of almost giving you like a 4 settings on your amplifier. Presence control over the back here, and we'll show you a screenshot of what's on the back and annotate anything important there.
Yes.
So let's just hear our range of tones. We've got a Strymon Blue Sky. I think we've got the old version 1, haven't we? Version 1 here and version 2 here.
Yes.
But yeah, just set on a very mild spring reverb. That to me is classic British clean. It's not the Fender kind of super expansive, massive smack you in the face clean tone. It's that clean tone with a little edge of breakup on it, and it just sounds great to me.
Yeah, it's like a rough glove. It's not a smooth glove. It's like a glove with a little bit of roughness.
Sandpaper on the inside.
It just scrapes you.
Obviously, this guitar is going to drive the preamp of this amplifier more than if we had a Strat or a Telecaster or something. Perhaps we'll do that in a bit. But let's just start to increase our vintage gain a little bit.
It's just a chord monster, you know. It's just that sound. You know, it's right there, isn't it?
There's a few videos, well, not a few, 1 or 2 videos we've done recently where, and I'm thinking of things like the Little Sister, and where there's, when you get back into those amps that I think are more Marshall inspired, I personally find myself going, I'm not sure I really want to dump a load of pedals over the top of this. You know, whereas if you give me a Fender-inspired amplifier, I'm like, oh, good, because there's my blank canvas for putting all my pedals over the top. It's an interesting...
It's inspiration, man. It's all about the inspiration. But it is literally... It's just all those 80s amazing sounds.
Now, we can, of course, pump the vintage channel up a little bit more. And now we're into... It's not going to be... It's going to be just like a second gain channel.
I feel like it's a little bit more for riffs kind of thing, that sound, you know. Oh, so the stuff's falling down behind here.
Oh my life. Now, an amplifier like this and a cabinet like this isn't really designed to sound incredible with the volume incredibly low. And if you want to use something like this at home, we'd absolutely recommend using some sort of attenuator setup. Put a video in the corner about using cranked valve amps at home where we show you how the 2-note stuff works with this. But just in case you're interested, kind of like this is a really low volume sound.
What's wrong with that?
No. So, anyway, I just wanted to kind of, you know, you can get lower volume sounds out of this.
Absolutely.
Okay, so now we're going to jump on over to the hot rod channel. I've got this set so that it will now engage master volume 2 in as well. almost feel like now would be the time to break out some sort of Sweet Child of Mine kind of...
Too bright, too freezing. I think it's too much gain on that for that. Yeah, I think so. It's just a great tone, man. I love this amp. I've always liked that amp, but now it's just got to step up.
I don't know that this is necessarily a kind of an area that we would normally go, and sometimes if you're recording these, it ends up sounding pretty good in the room, but a bit fizz on the mics. But
fizz on the mics.
Here's a lot of gain. Mr. Pete. Okay, what I was just jumped around the back there to do, it has the bass focus button, which I believe has come across from the Kraken. So that's very much about as you start to wind the volume up, you can tighten up the bass end a little bit like I guess a tube screamer kind of does. And it also has a presence shift, which changes the sort of the tonality of the brightness of the amplifier. And anyway, I was fiddling with those on the back whilst Pete was playing that last bit. Oh, so that's the 25.
I was deeply in...
The Combo is exactly the same amplifier with all the same knobs and buttons and switches and everything, except in this kind of wide-bodied cab with a Celestion G75 Heritage speaker in it. Absolutely, 30-watt Heritage speaker. This, they both come with, let me find the foot switch. So whether you buy the Combo or the head, you get a little nice bag with the head, and you get this foot switch regardless of which one you buy. So again, allowing you to switch between channel 1 and channel 2 and master 1 and master 2 on these latching foot switches that light up, which is kind of cool.
Master gave Dobby a sock. Foot switch.
Yeah, in the UK, it's $11.99 for the head, the 25-watt head, and $18.99 for the Combo. So there you go. There's your 25. I'm excited to see the official victory videos with this and see which players they've got in to do that. But it, you know, very, very cool. Like that. Always like that. I mean, again, if you're not familiar with the victory story around this little sort of folded metal sort of lunchbox amplifier, this harks back to a request from Guthrie Govan back, 10 years ago, where he was like, could you make me an amplifier that goes in the overhead locker of an EasyJet, plane? And that's essentially what this does. So it's dual voltage. It'll work on 110 or 220
little switch here on the side, actually. You can,
and, chuck it in an aeroplane, off you go.
Super
Great
cool.
little travel amplifier.
I've heard something about the color and the design of this. There was some guy who said you should do it like that, and then that was... Anyway, it's awesome, man. It's brilliant. Shut the front door.
So now we're going to go over to the 100-watt. And if you missed the bit where I said at the beginning, the only difference between this amplifier and this amplifier is the size of the wooden sleeve that it's in. All right, so this one looks a bit more at home on top of a 412. This one looks more at home on top of the 212. Which
this one will drink. This one will have a couple of Stellas.
Absolutely. There's a £100 upcharge for the bigger sleeve. So in the UK, again, it's $19.99 for this one or $20.99 for this one. Which again, I know, in the world of amplifiers, you can buy amps made in China and, stuff for 500 quid or whatever
Yeah.
like that, and you can buy stuff made in America that's £4,000 or £5,000. What's an SLO 100 now? £4,000?
Something like that, yeah. Plus 20, 4500.
Yeah, I just want to, again, really, really drive home. These are handmade, UK-made, high-end amplifiers. And although, you sit and go £2,000, it sounds like, it's not a cheap amplifier, don't get me wrong there. But in terms of value, really, really, really stacks up well against some of the other kind of...
like a brown eye or that kind
any of that kind of stuff. Just saying.
We should do shoot-outs with all of that stuff as well at some point.
So, the basic amp now is a 100 watt EL34 powered...
so back to 34s on this one.
Back to 34s. Okay. Again, you could, if you want to, with a little bit of tinkering on the bias, switch those out for 6L6s. It's been designed to change...
That's interesting, okay.
Yeah, been designed to support either. But it's a EL34 vibe out the box.
Absolutely.
Same basic knobs actually as the first one, but now with loads more, well, quite a lot more switching.
Knobs.
So each channel now has 2 modes. So vintage mode has vintage gain has a green and a red mode. Hot rod mode has a green and a red mode. Same idea that you can either assign the master volumes to be master 1 for the vintage channel, master 2 for the hot rod channel, or you can switch them to be independent.
That's a lot in the end,
the presence shift button is now on the front here, and the I think what was on the back, was it bass focus, and what have we got here? Yes, the depth focus is on the back of this, same as that. So here we are, basically our 100 watt. This does now have a high and a low mode. Low mode takes it down to about 30 watts. High mode is the 100 watt mode.
30 watts low mode, that's like, wow.
Last thing to tell you before Pete strums some chords. The 100 watt ones come with 2 foot switches included in the price. So again, you can see you can foot switch channel 1 to channel 2, master 1 to master 2, and then you can actually foot switch the channel settings as well. So you've essentially, I don't even know how many channels that gives you on this, 65 different settings, I don't know. But you can see what I mean. So there's a bit more switching on the 100. Same cab.
Okay.
Let's just do the same kind of thing. We'll just go through the basic sort of...
I shouldn't play that, should I? We'll just get it.
I think
it's got tamed.
Immediately, you're hearing the extra headroom that the,
but it's like
100 watts gives you.
You can feel that it goes, I don't like to be here, you need to turn me up. I'm going to get angry if you don't. You know what I mean? It's like the attack is immediate.
There's actually a lot more headroom even on the clean channel, isn't there? Even with that guitar.
Much more clean. Well, you would expect that for 100 watts. It's a lot, man.
Yeah.
The attack is immediate.
Can I just say, bearing in mind we've got the cab on this side of the room and the decibel meter on that side of the room,
it's there, isn't it?
You get a sense of how much clean headroom is actually on this amplifier. Because what did that get up to? Like
105 something, yeah.
Maybe more.
106. And if I play this with sort of a little bit less, if I just play it softly. It's still not
loud.
It's not driving yet, you know.
Let's jump on over to the red side of the vintage game, which is where it'll start to be obviously a lot more gainy.
I haven't used any pedals yet either. take the reverb off so I can hear, so I can feel the attack. What is it?
I can't take this anymore. My head's going. There was a clue in there as well as to who. We've got a very special guest coming in this afternoon to do a Captain Meets with us. Pete played a little clue of a riff.
Yeah, I might learn it properly.
Right, crikey! I made a mistake sitting this side and having the cab right behind me. So here is channel 2, or the hot rod gain channel, and again in its green mode.
I need the tuning.
I think again, it's worth saying this is like a lot of the modded Marshall amplifiers that you see out there. So there's lots of these old Marshalls that have this sort of mythical status of these mods that were done in the sort of late 70s and the 80s by people like Mike Soldano and Dave Friedman and stuff like that. And I think that's Martin Kidd's heritage in amplifiers are those sort of mods.
Yeah.
And so, with all these, whether it's Victories or Friedmans or whatever, they go places that the bass Marshall doesn't go.
Yes.
And again, that's not to take anything away from something like a JCM 800, which is an absolutely wonderful, wicked sounding amplifier.
Yeah, once you get it in.
But it's like, these are all kind of the best. They're like a JCM 800 on steroids, aren't they, really?
Or with the things that you want from them, like master volumes, like not too much presence, like controllable gain, and like. Yeah.
So let me just start to wind up this hot rod channel and go into its red mode, and we'll see where we go. At some point or other, I kind of feel this amplifier is very much about drop tunings, and he's going for it.
But it might be somebody else that come and do that.
Yeah, maybe. There's no pedals.
No pedals.
It's so ridiculous.
Still, I put all this pedal board on.
It's so ridiculous. Right, I've got to show you quickly the low mode. And again, now typically on these kind of amplifiers, low mode isn't really about kind of going, so this is how you play it, you know, when you're at home.
No.
Although to a certain extent probably does make it slightly easier to achieve that. There's just a very different feel characteristic and a slight different tonality playing an amplifier that's going to max out at 30 watts versus 100 watts.
Yeah, and also you got master volumes on it.
Yeah.
That's the...
So let's just see on that kind of crazy gain sound. Can we get like a little tiny?
You're here. Yeah, that's cool, man.
I mean, that's pretty quiet. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
again, I don't know if it would just... Wow, all I was really doing was looking at the decibel meter. There's about, again, this is super unscientific, but there's like about a 3 dB difference between being in high and low mode.
But isn't that
so
when
it's
you
not
get
massive? But
it get doubles up every time?
Yeah,
It's over
yeah.
100 or something, doesn't it? I can't remember how it works, dBs.
So there we
Wow.
are. That's the 100.
That's magnificent.
I think these are
Majestic.
great. I'm really pleased, to be honest with you. The outgoing Sheriff range, which I really liked. I mean, I've got a Sheriff 44 in my
great
office that I use
Absolutely.
a lot. But I don't use the effects loop on it. I put, if I'm going to have some reverb on it, I'll just go in through the front end.
Yeah.
And I don't use the channel switching on it and all that kind of stuff because I just don't think those are really its forte. This is very much designed for you to use the channel switching and the effects loop in a way that the previous didn't. Hey, it looks cool,
It's
right?
a good update.
It does look cool.
Absolutely.
And again, relatively speaking, I think if you hold these up against other boutique amp builders doing this kind of thing, they're good value.
There's only one way to find out, isn't there?
Well, I think we should do that shootout. So look, that's basically, I think maybe let's just get you to noodle out on the combo.
Well, here, do you want... I could just take that, yeah, why not?
And then you've got, because one of the things I did want to actually show you, which you didn't see, or you may not have seen in the first one, I put a tube screamer and a Victory. Well, originally I was like, I'm just going to have a tube screamer because that's the sound, right? You just get a guitar tube screamer into this vibe of amplifier. And then I thought, I'm just so I can kind of stay on brand here, I'll grab the Victory Duchess, because I think a lot of people have sort of seen this V1 Duchess pedal and go, well, Duchess is kind of a clean amplifier, so what's the point of the pedal? And I just sort of set it up to be a bit tube screamery in the sense of, take a little bit of the bass end off,
a little bit
run it as like a low gain boosty thing.
Yeah.
And I really like it. So perhaps I'll just show you the vibe of the two here. So
you've got the tuner on there.
I have. So that's the vintage channel with the vintage gain, just under kind of halfway, and the volume about halfway as well.
Can I just mention, that's me, so...
Yeah. Never sit too close to your valve amplifier, guys and
Or
girls.
if you do, put your head right in front of it.
So here's what a tube screamer would do to that sound. And here's the Duchess. So.
Oh, it's a massive wall sound.
So
that's good for that
you might
because it adds a bit more bass in it as well.
You might want to just have a bit of a mess around. Duchess, I think, as that type of boosty vibe. Hot Rod channel on here. Here we go.
Oh!
Well, a fantastic little combo, I think, as either a home use or a small gigging
Monday morning, sorry.
So,
wow,
that's basically it, Mr.
That's it, isn't
it? If we jam out...
I think we should keep them in the studio.
We will. If we jam out, would you do it with a Strat or something?
I can do that with a Strat.
Okay, and I'll go over to playing some sort of humbucker loaded. I might grab that PRS. Anyway... Thank you so much for watching. Links below.
Like and subscribe.
And I believe the amps are in stock already, so
are they?
Knock yourself out, yeah? All right. See you later. Au revoir.